Guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play, and I am excited for tonight's guest. One, because I've had this guy connected on Facebook for quite some time, and then he followed me on Twitter the other day, and I was pretty excited that he followed me on Twitter because he doesn't follow many people, so I feel like I'm one of the elite there that he's following, so I'm excited for that. This guy is all over the place. He's a golf pro. He's on the Golf Channel. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And it's funny because we had another guest that was a late cancel, and he and I were talking on Twitter just a few days ago about having him come on the show sometime this season. And sure enough, here he is on the show. Like within a matter of minutes, he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we got Brian Jacobs with us from Brian Jacobs Golf. Brian, welcome to the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play.
Oh, Ricky, thanks so much. This is great. Love to pinch hit.
Awesome. Well, you were going to be on the show regardless. So the pinch hit, and you're episode number 67 of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play. So,
Yeah.
And you seem to have liked that number, and it's better
I
than
like
67.
it a lot.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
as always, the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play is presented by Eat Sleep Golf, and this episode is going to be live tonight on YouTube. It's going to be tomorrow shared to Facebook and Twitter and Google+. The golf community on Google+ is knocking on the door of 26,000 members, so we should surpass that soon. And then it will also be on Google Play and in iTunes and on SoundCloud as a podcast, as a part of the Golf Radio Network. So lots of places to check this out. But let's just get started with a brief overview of who you are, where you are, what you do, and just give us the elevator pitch of who Brian Jacobs is.
Sure. Upstate New York, near Lake Ontario. So grew up in a kind of a rural farming community. Went to college in Texas and actually played football. So I didn't take up the game of golf till late in my life, till I was 27. So by the time I was 30, I was working in the business. I worked at Locust Hill Country Club. They gave me my first job as a caddy master, and within 3 years, I had passed the PAT and gotten into the business schools. And at the same time, I was a school teacher. So I was working in the inner city of Rochester. So I'm finishing up my 31st year there, my 15th or 16th as a PGA. And then kind of just got the bug. And the great Sam Rosetta, I don't know if many people know about Sam, but I worked a few years at the Country Club of Rochester. And he was the head pro for a long time. And his son took over the job, and he used to talk to me all the time about teaching, and he worked with Julius Burrows in the winter, and so I started just teaching. I would always teach and play and do very little shop time. So got hooked up with Hank Haney then, and ESPN golf schools, and so on the weekends I would travel and do golf schools, and so I got my background with Hank through golf schools. So being able to assess people and fix them quick. And then 2 years ago, the Golf Channel called and said they had been watching my brand and they were interested in having a location up in Rochester. So I gratefully and humbly accepted, and it's been awesome since then. Been on Morning Drive a couple of times now, and there's just a few of us that get asked back. So they must like the ball guys or something. So they got to throw one in there every once in a while. So I'm just humbled to be on your show as well.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to talk about all that stuff tonight, especially the Hank Haney connection. That was cool that you've had the ability to learn under him and with him over the years. And so here at Tiburon Golf Club in Naples, we've got Bobby Clampett, former PGA Tour winner.
Yeah.
He's got Impact Zone Golf. And
Absolutely.
They're at the back of our range, and they're actually all over the property because he's got a van in the parking lot. He's got stuff going on the putting green. He's doing a lot. And he's got a lot of clinics, whether it's a short game clinic, a putting clinic. He's on the range. He's doing on-course lessons with his team. What do your clinics look like? Like, what kind of programming do you offer currently? And does that change based on the needs of your students, or do you just kind of keep it set in what you've done all along?
Well, this is interesting. We talk a lot about this. I just actually hired a staff and mentoring him, and we want to meet income levels along with needs at the same time. So we offer multi-level programming. We offer something called 90 for 90, which is 90 minutes for $90 group clinics. We call it Golf-tastic. So we have Wedge-tastic and Iron-tastic and Putting-tastic and Drive-tastic, and those are more group-oriented, and we try to develop students or get students out of that for my associate instructor. We also offer long-range coaching, 3, 6, and 12 month, and they can be anything from 4 lessons a month all the way through 2 lessons a month. We don't do the typical one hit and then leave. We want coaching. We want long-term relationships with people. And probably my most popular program is called the Performance Flex, which is a recurring fee each month, and then the student gets a discount when they come in each time. And we're averaging, 20 students in that, at roughly 3.5 lessons or 3 lessons per month. So, you hear the old quote, everybody, it's not hard to eat an elephant if you eat it one bite at a time. So when people look at golf instruction, I want them to look at chunk learning and also chunk payments at the same time. So we offer a lot for people. We have an indoor center, so we go 12 months with people, and they get their time and their time slot. So I literally only teach 40 people, 40 long-term students. Most people commit to 12 months with me, and we do on-course and tournaments and the whole deal, sports psychology with them, the whole deal, nutrition, fitness. One side of our facility indoors is a gym, and the other side is 4 full swing simulators. We use TrackMan, we have Swing Catalyst, and so we can go anywhere with technology and anywhere with on-course instruction forms. So we feel like we have it all covered.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you just keep naming things. Like TrackMan alone is an impressive piece of technology, but it sounds like you've got everything covered. That's really cool. Now you're at Ridgemont Country Club. Tell me a little bit more about the club, how long you've been there, and what kind of your setup is like at that property.
Well, this is my 3rd year there, and I work as an independent. So they allow my brand to be there, which is fantastic. I can't solicit the members to teach them. So if any instructors get into that situation, don't panic. They all cross the river. They built me a beautiful private tee, and everybody's interested, and so I do teach members, but they allow me to run my business there. And then we've co-branded with them, and obviously they get the benefits of the Golf Channel, which they are starting to leverage pretty well. So in the wintertime, then it's on the same property. It's a privately owned private club. So the son of the owner owns the other building that I lease from him, lease space from him. So the people come to the same spot all the time. They're either going to be indoors or outdoors. So it works great.
So indoors or outdoors, what's the weather like? I mean, I don't even know. I know where you are. You're like a block from the Niagara Falls, but what's the winters like up there?
Brutal.
What I thought you were going to say.
We get probably a little bit over 200 inches of snow a season, and it all seems like it's in one day. And we could get 60 degrees, on a weekday, and then by the next day it's 20 below, and we're suffering. So and it's really funny. I've been asked many times, why do you stay in Rochester? But the people are hardy. They're awesome people. They're true. They're loyal. And it would be really tough to pick up and move to where you are and start a new business. I've developed my business, and this is where I am. And so if I need to get out and see the sun, I go and see guys like you, or come down and see Bernie Sheridan, who works with Bobby, and can hang out with him a little bit.
I don't know if you've seen his episode, but he was on the hashtag Wednesday Match Play just a few weeks ago. So go back and check that out if you haven't seen that. He's an awesome person. And out of all of the tips, I've had a handful of lessons, not many in my life. And out of all of the tips that I've ever heard, he gave me one of the best. And it was so simple. He did it while we were passing each other on the stairs. And it's been one of the few things that I take to the golf course every time I play. Oh, so cool. I love your logo. Who designed it, and why'd you pick those colors?
I actually designed it with a friend of mine. And nice. We picked the colors because of the green and the black. They just stood out with each other. At the time, too, I was with Nike Golf. So I had to call Nike and make sure that, everything was okay with that, because we inverted the swooshes a little bit and moved them around. And so I actually get a lot of compliments on we updated 4 years ago, and got the established in 2000. So we just redid the website, which has been wonderful. Added a media center. By the way. Thank you very much. I've got a guy that works with me, and we trade golf lessons for his work. That would cost thousands and thousands of dollars, to do. And I know that you're in the marketing end of things, and that means a lot, for you to say that it looks great. But I really enjoy that process as well. Just having my hands in there. I do all my social media, all my posts. I don't have a PR director or anything like that. So, and I've learned over the years how to how and when to do posts and what to say and how to churn it a little bit and how to back away and who follows when and who's not following and who needs to get dumped and who needs to get picked up. And that's the great part of the fun of the business to me is when I sit down that 10% of my work week, and I do dedicate quite a bit of time to that.
Awesome. Well, you were doing a great job with it, and you have more followers on Twitter than me, so you might have to teach me a thing or two. So Eastland Golf always sends in a bunch of they always send in a bunch of good questions. Tonight's no different. And I'm not sure because I'm pretty sure Scott's a lower digit handicap, but Scott asks, what is the number one tip you would offer to a mid-handicapper to help improve his or her game?
Wow.
That's a pretty big blanket, but
that's a big blanket. I would say, keeping it pretty general. Your contact with the golf club is really important. We notice, when we teach, one of the first two things I look at is the grips of their clubs and then where the ball hits on the face. And I would say that in general, people that have a long lead hand, a long lead thumb, have a tendency to miss the ball off the top and hit it high. And people that have a shorter thumb tend to be a little better ball strikers, a little more vertical with the club. So I would look at their pre-shot, we call it, and it's doesn't require any athleticism, but just their setup, where the ball is positioned, what their grip is like, how many knuckles they can see. So having that contact with the club gives them control of the club face.
Now,
so that would be my tip.
Okay, awesome. Mm-hmm. Scott, you better be listening because you've got #TheEvan17 coming up next week. So that tip better not put you ahead of me on the scoreboard. Hank Haney, you have a relationship with him. Talk about that and how you guys got connected and what that was like working with him and if you guys have stayed in touch over the years.
Well, it's funny. He was running something called Teach the Teacher. So we have a kid locally up here that played for him at SMU. So I said, I want to know everything about him. Everything. Teach me how he teaches, show me what he does. And I had read a lot of his stuff and I was really impressed with how he taught it. To me, it's very black and white. You either hook it or you slice it. Either hit it high or you hit it low. And so as I progressed with this kid, his name's Jason Prokowski, I just started to get more and more intrigued with him. And then the ESPN thing came along right about the same time. So I got an opportunity to meet him and Jason introduced us. And so I went the next 6 years to teach the teacher and got to know him pretty well. And when him and Tiger broke up and, that was a big day, and the Golf Channel stuff that he had, all the students that he had, it was really cool to say, I've been at the ranch, I've been here and I've been there, and really a class guy too. Knows his stuff, which I really, really enjoyed as well.
That's awesome. Well, maybe one day he can come on this show and talk about you and teaching.
Maybe. He'd probably say, who?
So you've appeared on the Golf Channel Morning Drive several times. Tell us a little bit more about that and how you got started with that and what that experience has been like for you.
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, I think after you stop hyperventilating the first time and realize that, you're going to be in front of your peers and in front of millions and millions of people, you settle in and you are a teacher. And what we're trying to do at the root of our teaching is to help people. The process is phenomenal. They treat you like royalty. I'm just a country guy, and to stay at Bay Hill and get carted around and be flown in and have lunch with the bigwigs, there, and be in the production area and go to makeup and then and I had been friends with Michael Breed for a while, and so he kind of filled me in on what to expect, and he said, just keep up your energy and just smile and it'll be fine. And on Morning Drive, when it's live like that, there's a little bit of dead time and you're not sure whether to smile or, and they just say, look at camera 5, just always look at camera 5 and you'll be all right. And so, you've got so much buzzing around the first time you're there that you don't know which camera's number 5, and the number's right on it. I mean, it's digital, it's right in front of you and you can't miss it. But, somehow I was like, looking around going, where's camera 5? Damon Hack is phenomenal. And then I worked last time with Paige McKenzie, also just phenomenal people, comforting, calm. The Facebook Live stuff was absolutely fun. And then you get to shoot, 10 to 12 videos that they put in a can and they give you the links. And so that's what I put out. During the year, I'll put them out at different times, and we have themes. So we'll put them out for the themes for the month, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. I've known Paige for a long time from her
Mm.
role with the Spirit International, and Michael Breed is. It was funny. I was actually supposed to speak at a summit that Brandon Tewkesbury, who is
Oh,
friends with
Brandon,
Michael
great.
Breed.
Hmm.
Brandon's a very good friend of mine. He texted me today, actually
Fantastic.
talking about some Instagram stuff. So I'll make sure he sees this. He's been on the show
Yeah.
twice before. So he
Yeah.
wrote the Wedge book, and now he
Oh,
may or may not be working on another book. And when that book comes out, he's going to come back on the show. But that's cool that you know him.
yeah.
So I've got like 10 names of people I have to send this
Yeah.
episode to.
We're all connected. Yeah, Brandon's fantastic. I got his Wedge book, and it's just amazing stuff, amazing information. There's so much information out there, and there's really, for me, I read it all, but there's only a few people that I really, really trust. And those are the people that I physically go and see, and I watch them teach. And Brandon's a guy on my 5 list, I call it. There's 5 people that I want to see within the next couple of years. And so Michael, I go and see every single year because he's close. He's about 5 hours away. But Brandon's on my list. Hank, to get back to him, he's not really teaching, but to go back and see the operation. Obviously, Cameron McCormick would be another one. And then I'd like to go see a couple guys in the Dallas area. Jeff Eisler, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Jeff runs a phenomenal academy in Dallas, and he's indoors, so it's a little bit different. But he's got some relationships with some golf courses, and he's absolutely a phenomenal instructor, like all the guys are that I just mentioned.
That's awesome. Well, Brandon's at Idle Hour just outside of Augusta, so I'm sure he'd
Hmm.
be happy to come have you come down and see him. And I want to see
Yeah,
his property too. He's invited me about 45 times, and every time
right,
something comes up and I can't go, I only get a
right,
few days off per year, so I need to just
right,
call in sick one day. So
right.
TrackMan came up. What other technology are you using in your teaching, or do you use a lot of technology?
I use it as a tool. I know there's a lot of people that use it, solely and they teach by numbers, but we use it as a tool. I do combines a lot with people. I also use Swing Catalyst. We use K-Vest a little bit. We have it. We don't use it a lot. We use it more on the fitness side because Swing Catalyst helps us so much in the full swing area that we have. So we can take somebody on Swing Catalyst and look how their force is, take them over to the gym side, give them a couple of simple movements, have them repeat, 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 come back, and invariably the numbers will change to where we want them to change. So we work obviously in the wintertime a little bit more with technology because we're locked in. But when we get outdoors, it's basically we get into a skill area, we do a little block practice with them, a little bit of random practice with them, and then we're out on the golf course working on a skill set.
Awesome. That's really cool. Now, I'm a big craft beer guy. Let's take this away from golf just for a second. You got a lot of really good craft breweries
Mm-hmm.
near you. Are you a beer drinker? And if so, what's your favorite local craft brewery?
I am not a beer drinker, believe it or not. I need to
Oh my
start
gosh, this
though.
interview's over. I'm done.
That's right. I saw that. I said I'm in trouble. I saw it on your profile, and I said, "Oh man, I don't drink." I drank a lot of beer in college though, but we had the Genesee Brewery back in those days. So
Classic. Yeah, that's
yeah,
old
everybody
school there.
everybody drank cream ale or Jenny Blue, Blue Light, and those were our beers. They were inexpensive and they were local. So now there's just I drove by a brewery the other day that just opened up. It's like High Falls Brewery revisited. So they had High Falls Brewery where people were
Well, you've got Noble Shepherd, 12 Gate, Three Heads. Those are all
yeah,
like right there
yeah,
where you're
right
at.
there too. Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna, in honor of you, I'm gonna start to drink beer.
Awesome. I
Maybe I'll
can't
grow
wait.
my
That's
hair
awesome.
back.
Now, I have noticed over the last handful of years, the guys on tour are hitting the ball further and further, and I'm not,
Mm,
and I work out more than I ever have, and I've upgraded my technology. I mean, granted, I hit a little bit further than I used to, but like
mhm.
seeing guys on tour hit it 360, 375, 410, like that's just ridiculous, and it's not even
Yeah,
comparable to what we as amateurs can do. So, do you
no.
see a trend, or do you think that people should be realistic and hit the ball as far as they hit it, and therefore play the tees that fit how far they hit the ball?
Well, I'm big on playing it the proper tees. I can share a story I had with a student a number of years ago where he's 80 years old and he wants to hit it farther, and he was fit, he was doing yoga, and I said it's just you can't create the speed. so we need to get you to hit it square, every time. But to the next set of tees, and he's like, I'm not ready. He goes, I'll never move up. I'll never move from the blue tees. And I said, unfortunately, mechanically, we're not going to get much better other than hitting it square. I said, but I really think if you moved up a set of tees, you'd have a lot more fun, and he says, I'll never move up. So the discussion for some people, egotistically, they just won't move. With me, if they said move up to the forward tees, I'm like, I'm going. Absolutely. I'm going to see how low I can go, from there. And rather than playing it, I played Beth Page a few weeks ago, and you're playing 7,400 yards and I'm 56, it's no fun. You're getting the crap kicked out of you the whole day. I'd rather hit a wedge in on every hole and make a lot of birdies. I just think it's more fun. So a long
We've
way
got
around
3 sets of
answering.
tees. No, I get that, and I appreciate that. We have 3 sets of tees that we have 5 sets of Tiburon, but 3 that we typically play from. We play on Thursday nights, and our GM he hits the ball a mile, so he likes to play the tips. And it's not fun for me hitting driver 3-wood hybrid into a par 4 that if I play the right set of tees, I'm hitting a 6 iron,
Right.
maybe an 8 iron into. It's
Right,
it's not fun.
exactly. Yeah, I think you have to look at the students. Even when we go out and practice, I'll have them earn their way back. We'll start at the forward, and if they make a birdie or par, then they can earn their way back. And then hopefully by the end of it all, they're at the black tees where they want to be. Some people, I'll start them the other way out. The long hitters, I'll start them on our black tees. We have 4 sets of tees, and I'll move them up, and they get worse sometimes as they get closer. So they feel like I want to hit the green, with my driver on a 328-yard par 4 instead of hitting a 5 iron and flipping a little wedge in there and making a birdie. So sometimes they get so patterned on where they play from that they forget how to play golf.
Absolutely. Now, you have a new student assessment that you give your new students, and I'm just curious what that's about and what's that process look like. So if I'm brand new and I come in and hey, let's have my first lesson, what's that assessment look like?
Yep. So anybody that's new to the academy, they get a new student assessment. So we take them through either a TrackMan combine or we take them through a 7-shot process with 3 different clubs, with their pitching wedge, with their 7 iron, and then with their driver. Then we take them to the short game area, and they'll hit 30 or so pitches from different yardages. And then we take them to the putting green, and we set up 15 putts from 15 different locations just to see if they can get the face square, if they have speed control, if they can get their shot on line. And we fill out a card for them, and then we say, well, here's where we would go. This is the program that we would recommend, and let's sit down and talk. And I tell them at some point during this process, we're going to twist your arm a little bit, about programming. And if they stay with us, then the assessment is free. And if they don't, then we just collect $100 fee, which is, 50% of what I get for my hourly. So I'm converted. I just converted another one yesterday. So I'm 42 for 43 for students. So I lead the Golf Channel Academy in that, which I'm very proud of. And I set goals every month. Myself and my associate, we strive to get 3 a month. Sometimes we get 7, and sometimes we get 4, but we always get 3 new students a month. So we're actually kicking some serious butt in this, and we're really helping people out. So it's really important too for the people to come in and have the assessments so that we know where to take them, and so they know that we can be trusted and that we're developing a relationship. So without writing a check or committing to 3 months at the minimum. And just for your golf instructors, most of the people are committing at that $2,000, $2,100 minimum range. So that's real. Those are real dollars when you look at 42 people at $2,100. So people can do the math, and that's just off of new students. That's not my regulars. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, I didn't tell you before we went live, this was going to fly by. We only have a couple of minutes left, actually. So
yeah,
before we jump into the back 9, I'm curious what you see with trends in golf instruction. I feel like I told you, Bernie gives me a 5-minute, talk, and it fixes something. I spent 5 minutes on the range with Doug Reed a few months ago, and he literally fixed me from hitting duck hooks every 3 shots into finding fairways. So that's
Right.
not a trend as much as I'm not taking lessons with a pro, but on the flip
Right.
side of that, what trends are you seeing in golf instruction with people that are not taking lessons and with yourself as an instructor?
Yeah, we're seeing, I get contacted quite a bit about online, a lot more about video lessons than I ever have before. I mean, people are really pressed for time, and people are taking more lessons, in my opinion, than they are playing golf, it seems lately. The book is packed. And if we can get people to just get on the wedge range and hit balls and commit 10 or 15 minutes, they can usually do it. So I'm seeing a lot more chunked learning. I'm seeing a lot more technology. People are coming in, I think, with a good background as far as the internet and some stuff like that, but they come in a lot screwed up a lot too because they don't know how stuff applies to them. So I tell them it's a double-edged sword when you look on the internet. If it doesn't apply to you and you do it, you just set your brand back a little bit. So, but definitely more online stuff and definitely more technology and less
Awesome.
about people being able to see their ball flight and correct it themselves. Less empowerment of the student and probably more disabling the student, making them dependent on lessons, which I never want. I want them to leave the academy and let somebody else come in, actually, so that
Yeah,
they
go
can
play,
fix
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. This is fantastic.
You got it.
One, it's cool to just
Yeah.
finally meet you, and we've known each other online
You
for
as
so
well.
long, and now with Twitter. But before I let you go, we have this segment called the Back Nine. It's just 9 fun random golf questions. You ready?
I think so.
What
I'm
golf
ready.
ball are you currently playing?
Titleist Pro V1X.
I was going to ask if it was the regular or the X. I like the regular, and I'm this close to switching to the Project A
Uh
from TaylorMade. It's almost
huh.
as good, if not as good. I don't know what it is. What is your favorite training aid? I don't use many. I like the orange whip, and quite frankly, I like just a piece of pipe that I can put down and see where my feet are aimed. But what's your favorite training aid?
Probably my favorite one is a lie board. So
Okay,
we work on ground contact with the lie board. I use it all the time.
dig that. Do you listen to music while you play golf?
Occasionally,
Okay.
usually the 70s. Remembering my childhood, my youth.
So you'll
So
listen
yeah,
to the
usually
70s on the front. We'll listen to dance music on the back, and we'll call it even.
yeah, we'll call it even.
What is your favorite hole at Ridgemont Country Club?
Favorite hole is the 14th. So it's a little slight dog leg right, 420-yard par four with a little elevated green and bunkered both short, left and right.
That sounds like a
It's a
hard
cool.
hole. Why is that your
It's a
favorite? That
cool
sounds
hole. Oh, I
cool.
love it because I birdie it all the time. I don't know why, but it's just fits my eye really well. I hook it
That's
up over the
awesome.
trees and hit it in the middle of the fairway. So it's a great hole.
Okay, 150 is the typical answer to this question, but how far do you hit your 7 iron? Last
Seven
week, I
iron
will tell
once.
you, last week she said like 159, like she was dialed in. So
Yeah, 163.
that
That's
dialed
my
in.
Yep. That's my carry.
Wow, that's pretty aggressive. You hit the ball further than
It's
I
not
do. All right.
it's not too bad for an old guy.
What is your favorite golf movie?
Favorite golf movie? Oh boy. Probably Tin Cup. I
Thank
like
you. Thank you
Caddyshack a lot
so
too, though,
much.
but I like Tin Cup probably a little bit more.
I one of these days, without prompting the person to say it, I want somebody to say, "Oh, the Legend of Bagger Vance." Like, I just want that to happen
I
because
I thought of it, but I said, nah,
it's
Tin
so
Cup's a little
bad.
higher.
Yeah, Tin Cup, Happy Gilmore, Caddyshack, and everything else. And I'm going to
Right.
Scotland next month, so I need to watch Tommy's Honor. Have you seen that yet?
I have not, no.
I've heard good things, and since I'm going to the home of golf, it makes sense that I watch it. So I should probably
Yeah,
watch that before I go over there. So,
absolutely.
who is your favorite LPGA Tour player?
Current or past?
Current and past. Two-part question.
Uh, Current's probably Paula Kramer. And then she used to come in our bag room when she was a little kid, when she played in Rochester, and have ice cream with us. And her grandfather was there, and so she's probably my favorite current player. And then past would probably be Joanne Carner. I just loved her, even though she smoked and ate hot dogs. She was cool. She was really cool. Her caddy was cool, and she kind of let it all hang out. She didn't hold any punches with people. She told them how she felt, which I really liked.
That's cool. I dig that. I might have a hot dog for dinner. Who knows? That sounds good.
Yeah, yeah.
Now we haven't talked about Tiger at all tonight, and no episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play is complete without bringing up the greatest of all time. But in your opinion, do you think Tiger breaks Shaq's record? Why or why not?
I don't think he will. I don't think he's healthy enough. And I just don't think like seeing the difference between when he was with Hank and now, I just don't think he can practice the way he practiced, and so no, I don't think he will.
Okay, well, that's better than just saying no and thinking. Okay, two-part question. Do you think he's done, or do you think he's just finally getting to where he can come back and be competitive? Because I personally think that the day that he thinks that he's done is the day that he just hangs it up.
Yeah, I think with the way he is I think he'd probably just cut it off. So I don't think he's done, but I don't think that he'll ever obviously achieve the greatness that he had before, because he's older and his body isn't the same, and I just don't think he has the work ethic anymore, that he used to have. It's important to him, but I don't think and I can't read his mind obviously, but just an opinion.
Okay, and I respect that, and I appreciate that it wasn't just no. Next question. And your final question of your hashtag Wednesday Match Play is, what's next? I mean, you seem to be pretty busy, and you got a lot of things moving, and you're on TV, and I mean, what's next for you and your efforts?
Well, I think we just got to keep it going. I think there's always room for improvement, so we're constantly looking at programming, and we're looking at ways to make golf exciting for people. We're trying to build up our junior academy now that I have some support. We have about 12 kids. We want to get it to 30 or 32 was kind of the magic number. So we keep chugging away and get better at the marketing side. I think, we can always improve and just obviously be kind to people on social media and keep a good reputation going.
I love it. Hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. This episode is going to live on YouTube. You will have a link in your inbox before the end of the night tonight, so feel free to share that with everybody. I'm going to share with about 15 names of people that you mentioned because of how small the golf world is. Tomorrow it's going to be on iTunes. It's going to be on Google Play. It's going to be on SoundCloud. It's going to be on Stitcher. It's going to be all over the place. So make sure you look for it. It's not hard to find. All you have to do is open your eyes. Brian, thank you again for coming on the show. And as always on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.